Hi guys, I'm back in Smartie and Sexy, and good morning and good evening to everyone. So it's good for me to be back, and our topic for today is about the Philippines economy and the impact of COVID-19. From GDP to national debt, learn about how COVID-19 has affected the economy of the Philippines and the Philippines economic outlook. Before COVID-19, the Philippines was one of the most dynamic economies in East Asia. The Philippines' economic progress relies upon strong consumer demand, a thriving labor market, and remittances received from overseas, increased urbanization, a growing middle class, and a young population helped to drive this. In this article, we explore the recent revival of the Philippines economy, how COVID-19 has affected this, and what we can expect from the future. The Philippines economy before COVID-19, once colloquially known as the sick man of the Asia, the Philippines economy enjoyed a period of resurgence from 2010 to 2016 thanks to the effort of former President Benigno Aquino. Aquino set out to create a system that prioritized sustainable growth over quick wins. He pursued graft and tax evaders and increased transparency and accountability. My God, mosquito. Oh my God. The Philippines received its first investment trade ratings. Fitch Ratings was the first, followed by Moody Investor Service and S&P Global in 2013. The Philippines' economic growth is stalled somewhat with the premiership of the President Rodrigo Duterte. However, there was still much to be optimistic about. The services industry, which include business process outsourcing, real estate, tourism, and the banking and insurance industries, performed well. In recent years, the Philippine economy has made strides in achieving inclusive growth. Poverty has fallen from 23.3% in 2015 to 16.6% in 2016. The impact of COVID-19, on the other hand, has stalled this upward trend in real wage, with negative implication for poverty reduction in the Philippines. Resuming growth may reverse these negative trends once more. The impact of COVID-19 on the Philippine economy. In January 2020, the country's first COVID-19 was recorded, and by March, the country has been placed under strict community quarantine, restricting mobility and commercial activity. While this action delayed the spread of COVID-19, and they had serious negative consequences for family incomes, jobs, education, food security, and businesses. Impact on the Philippines or GDP. The pandemic caused the Philippines economy to decline to its lowest level since World War II, with GDP decreasing by 9.5% in 2020. It's the worst drop since record began in 1947. It's the worst drop since record began in 1947, and it's also the first time the economy has shrunk since 1998, when it's contracted by 0.5%. When the tightest lockdown was implemented in the second quarter of 2020, GDP fell as low as 16.9%. Foreign direct investment, or FDI. The economic impact of the coronavirus pandemic reduced foreign direct investment or FDI by 24.6% to 6.5 billion 6.5 billion in 2020, down from 8.7 billion in 2019. Since the peak in 2017, FDI has dropped for the third year in a row. To boost the economy, the government is relying on foreign investment and hopes to entice foreign investors to invest in the Philippines using legislative measures such as corporate tax cuts. So we have to proceed for the debt of the Philippines. As a result of the COVID-19 crisis, the Philippine national debt increased by 26.7% to 9.7 trillion in 2020. As the end of January 2021, this had risen to 10.3 trillion thanks to the government decision to take out a new bridge loan from the BSP or Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas or Philippine Central Bank to cover its financial obligation. Revenue fell by 9% in 2020 due to rising expenses. The Bureau of Internal Revenue or BIR collection fell by 10%, and the Bureau of Customs collection fell by 14.7%, resulting in an 11.4% reduction in tax revenues. The Philippine government faced a 1.37 trillion budget deficit in 2020 due to higher expenses and decreased revenue. Impact on businesses. Between April and July 2020, 88% of the businesses reported a drop in sales, and between July and November 2020, 67% reported a drop in sales. The biggest cause of decreased sales was limited operation, 58%, and the customers' inability to visit brick-and-mortar establishment, 38%. A high number of businesses reported severe liquidity problem, with many claiming to be cash-strapped and behind on payments. 66.6% of businesses lack sufficient cash to cover all costs and liabilities such as wage, suppliers, taxes, and loan repayment for more than a month. 48% of businesses were in default. Last year, the government passed two financial stimulus bills that gave targeted aid to workers in specific industries, although some critics have called them insufficient. So let's proceed to employment. According to the Philippines Statistics Authority, the annual unemployment rate in 2020 was 10.3%, or 4.5 million unemployed Filipinos. Since April 2005, this is the highest annual unemployment rate ever recorded. Sadly, the problems appears to be worsening. According to the PSA, around 4 million Filipinos were unemployed in January 2021. This is more than 3.8 million people who were unemployed in October 2020, and then 2.4 million who were unemployed in January 2020. Meanwhile, in January 2021, the number of unemployed or underemployed employed who expressed a need for more hours of work, it is estimated of 6.6 million, or 16% of the total employed population. This underemployed rate is greater than the 14.4% rate in October 2020 and the 14.8% rate in January 2020. The economic outlook for the Philippines. The Philippines may face a longer road to recovery than its neighbors. It has imposed harsher and longer lasting movement restrictions, as well as more conservative fiscal stimulus, causing economic scaring that will make it more difficult for the economy to recover. More companies has reopened since the community quarantine was lifted, 63 in the November compared with 45% in July, but only a tiny percentage are operating at full capacity of 9%, while some company owners shuttered their doors to comply with government regulation out of 9%. Others, 21%, choose to do so despite the lessened community quarantine. Approximately 7% of businesses have permanently closed. Very sad. GDP fell 9.5% in 2020, the greatest drop since recorded began in 1946. Nonetheless, the quarterly numbers show the decline has slowed since the pandemic began. A tough 2021. It is expected that GDP will remain stagnant in 2021, while the rest of the Southeast Asia will bounce back from the recession. President Roa Duterte intends to spend a record 4.7 trillion peso or $98 billion this year in the hopes of achieving a 7.5 growth rate. Okay. The road to economic recovery. Any economic recovery will be dependent on the nation vaccination program. To attain herd immunity, the government wants to vaccine 70% of the country's 100 million people. 100 million people by the end of 2022, but it has only struck deals for approximately one-third of the doses needed so far. In 2021 to 2022, economic growth is projected gradually recover, providing that the virus is contained both domestically and globally, and that domestic activity is strengthened by increased consumer and corporate confidence and public investment momentum. That's it. The final thought. The Philippines economy faces a long road to recovery. The impact on businesses and the livelihoods will be felt for many months to come. Jobs will be in short supply, with certain sectors such as tourism, sales worse affected than others. In a tough jobs market, it helps to stay on top of worldwide economic and such as the transition to the green economy, the development of sustainable resources, and new challenges in natural resource management. This will lead you to spot opportunity that others may miss. Regardless of what sectors you're interested in studying, the resources available on future will help you to stay one step ahead in competitive market. That's all. Thank you. Guys, that's all. There's a lot of, problem facing in the Philippines. The spreading of Omicron again. We are in alert level 3 here in Sorsogon City, and we will having soon a health break. So all the school will be closed for several weeks, and they will come back in the school at February because of the contagious spreading of Omicron. So hopefully before end of 2022, all the people in the Philippines are fully vaccinated. With the cooperation, without any drugstore or pharmacy, they are just want to help to give vaccine to all the people in the community. So that's very helpful. We don't need to fall in line in a designated area. So all the pharmacy here in the Philippines, they are just followed by the step in the US that any pharmacy or drugstore, they are helping to the people to give a vaccine. So that will be a good news. So I already had my vaccine. I really don't know if I like to receive a booster, hopefully on February. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and share my video. If you like this video, you can give thumbs up. Until next time. So God bless you all. I will put on the description below my PayPal account, my Gcash, my account, my information that you can communicate with me. You can message me through email, through my WhatsApp, my Skype, and then we can talk and you can ask anything about me privately. And it's my pleasure, guys. If you watch my videos, don't skip the ads. Hopefully pretty soon I can receive my revenue on my YouTube channel. Every single day it's growing, and thank you guys for your support, and God bless you. I love you all, guys. God bless you. Good night. Have a good day. Have a nice day. Good morning, good evening. God bless you all. Salamat. Mahal ko kayo. I love you all.